What if I told you your favorite sweet romance trope isn't actually your story? It's simply the thread that stitches 12 different story layers together. That's why two writers can both write a second chance romance, yet one becomes unforgettable and the other one feels a little bit predictable. And today I'd like to show you exactly why tropes work for your story and how you can build an entire sweet romance around your chosen trope using my 12 story layers framework. In case we haven't met, I'm Lorna Faith and I write clean adventure fiction, and I also write contemporary sweet romance with my pen name Melody Archer. I love helping beginning writers by talking about what I've learned about writing fiction in hopes that something I've learned will in some small way help you to write and self-publish your books. As always, what I share is simply how writing my novels has worked for me, but you might have a different way of writing fiction that works better for you. And if you do, that's wonderful. I want to encourage you to keep doing what's working. Most beginning writers think like this. I know I did. I want to write an enemies to more love story, or I want to write a fake dating story, or I want to write a second chance romance. And that's a wonderful place to start, but it's not quite enough, because a trope is not your story. A trope is the emotional promise that your story makes. Think about Hallmark movies. You've probably watched dozens of Hallmark movies with almost identical tropes, yet you've happily watched another one. Why is that? Because every couple in the movie is different. Every wound in the movie is different, and every town feels slightly different, and every emotional journey is a little different. That's why movie watchers and readers keep coming back for more. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an entire sweet romance from one trope using my 12 story layers. So let's talk about this question. Why do story tropes work? This is probably my favorite topic. Readers don't buy books because they want surprises on every page. Readers buy books because they want a familiar emotional experience, experienced through fresh characters. A similar example would be, think about your favorite dessert. Maybe it's a chocolate cake. You've probably eaten there. I know I have. Yet every bakery makes one a little differently, and the recipe is familiar. The experience is unique. Sweet romance tropes work exactly the same way. Readers aren't thinking, I hope nobody has ever written another second chance romance. Instead, they're really thinking, I hope these two people find their way back to each other. The trope provides familiarity, and your characters provide originality. So today, I would like to share with you the 12 layers that really help to build your sweet romance around. Whenever I begin to brainstorm a romance, I don't begin with scenes. I slowly build 12 layers, almost like stacking transparent sheets on top of each other. Each layer adds more emotional depth. By the end, the sweet romance almost writes itself. And so in today's video, we'll build Jack and Emily's story layer by layer together. And if you would like to try this process yourself for your own story, I've created a downloadable workbook titled From Trope to Sweet Romance Story, and you can grab it for free at the link below this video. So let's start with layer 1, your sweet romance trope. Everything begins with one exciting story idea. Maybe you love second chance romance, or perhaps friends to more, or grandparent matchmakers, or grumpy meets sunshine. Or perhaps you like saving the small town, or a mystery romance, or perhaps a story about a secret inheritance. These are all tropes that work, and readers love them. Your trope is really the spark of your story. It creates the emotional promise that you are making to your readers. But it really isn't your story. It's simply the first building block. So here's a simple writing exercise What trope would you happily spend 6 months writing? Go ahead and write out what you would like to write. What sparks your excitement? And I'll share an example from Jack and Emily's story. Their story begins with one simple trope: second chance romance. Jack and Emily were each other's first love. Now it's years later, and life unexpectedly brings them back together in the same small town where they met as children. Everything else we build as we brainstorm this story will flow from that one simple idea. Layer number 2, character profiles. Meet your hero and meet your heroine. Not jobs, not eye color, but who are they today? Jack is a former Navy SEAL. He's quiet, protective, and he carries grief. That's his big wound. Emily has come to Angel's Cove to live above Aunt Dottie's coffee shop and to work there. She's gentle, creative. She has a young daughter. She's widowed. And she's someone that really believes in community. And she really wants to belong. So here's a writing exercise that might help. Write one sentence describing who each character of yours has become because of their past. Now on to layer number 3, flaws, wounds, and false beliefs. Every romance becomes emotional because both characters carry invisible wounds. Jack believes, I hurt everyone I love. Emily believes, people always leave. They abandon me. They always have. Now our second chance romance suddenly carries emotional weight. And here's a writing exercise that might help. Finish this sentence. My hero believes this about himself and about his past. My heroine believes this about herself and about her past. You can also explain why. I hope these writing exercises will help you to brainstorm your story a little further. Now let's move on to layer number 4, motivation and backstory. Here's where the trope starts becoming very personal. Emily first met Jack's family when she was 6 years old. She had just moved to Angel's Cove after her father had abandoned her and her mother. Then, when she was at the annual Summer Sandcastle Festival, she saw something she'd never experienced. A noisy, loving, imperfect family. The 𝙎𝙐𝘽𝙎𝘾 family. For the first time in her life, she wished she belonged to a family like that. Every summer, when she saw them, she secretly wished she belonged there. And then, when she was 16, Jack 𝙎𝙐𝘽𝙎𝘾 invited her sailing. They had a wonderful day together, and he kissed her. And it was her first kiss, and Emily fell in love. It was her first glimpse of the future that she dreamed about. Then everything shattered. Jack's father suddenly died after high school graduation, and Jack suddenly left Angel's Cove. There was no goodbye, no explanation. At that point, Emily quietly decided I wasn't worth staying for. And that belief shaped every relationship afterwards. And later on, she married Henry, who was a lot older than she was. And she didn't marry because she was deeply in love, but because she felt safe, and he was predictable and reliable, and she respected him. Security felt safer than vulnerability. Jack, meanwhile, left Angel's Cove, believing love only led to unbearable loss. So here's a writing exercise. Write one event from the childhood of your hero and your heroine. Write one event from childhood, and then write one event from young adulthood for your hero and your heroine that still shapes your character today. Layer number 5, your story question and premise. Every romance asks one emotional question. Not will they kiss, but instead focus on answering this question. What emotional question will your entire novel answer? In Jack and Emily's story example, the question really is, can two people who fear abandonment and loss learn to trust again? Everything in your story should answer that one question that you have decided is for your story. Layer number 6, Story, setting, and world. Angel's Cove isn't just scenery, it's why the story happens. It constantly reminds the hero and the heroine of unfinished memories, summer festivals, old docks, the beach and the boat where they first kissed. Places become emotional triggers, and the setting really becomes like another storyteller. So here's another writing exercise. Choose 3 locations filled with emotional history for your hero and your heroine, and then write those down in a notebook. Next is layer number 7, secondary characters in your story. Great supporting characters should deepen the sweet romance. Jack's brothers remind Emily what family feels like. The customers at the coffee shop for Emily slowly soften Jack. The town notices that Emily and Jack are reconnecting even before they do. And so here's a writing exercise that I hope helps. List 5 supporting characters and one way that each helps or maybe complicates the romance between your hero and your heroine. Next, we have layer number 8, which is external stakes and a ticking clock. Without urgency, your romance will drift. In my story example, perhaps Jack only has 6 weeks before returning to his new job. And maybe Emily's not sure what she's going to do. She's considering moving back to the city, but she's not sure what to do. And perhaps the Summer Sandcastle Festival must be saved before the tourist season ends. And the clock really forces choices for your main characters. And here's a writing exercise that might help a little bit. What deadline prevents your characters from waiting forever? Next, let's move on to layer number 9, your story subplot. The romance grows stronger when the couple works towards something together. Some examples might be they need to solve a mystery, or save the family business, or organize the Sandcastle Festival, or renovate a historic lighthouse, or discover hidden family letters, or protect a treasured inheritance, or perhaps heal a broken family relationship. A strong subplot continually brings your hero and your heroine together while revealing who they really are. Here's another writing exercise that I hope helps. Choose one subplot that naturally forces your couple to spend time together. Go ahead and write your answer in your notebook. Next, let's move on to layer number 10. Together versus apart dynamics between your hero and your heroine. This layer creates your emotional push and pull. What continually pulls them together and what continually pulls them apart? This is really where you brainstorm things like, together, they have shared childhood memories, they have similar values, they have a mutual attraction, they have common dreams, and they're working towards the same goal. But what pulls them apart is fear of vulnerability, old misunderstandings, family expectations, distance, secrets, different life plans. This layer is all about the emotional magnetism of the romance. Here's a writing exercise that you might find helpful. List 5 reasons your hero and your heroine belong together, and then list 5 reasons they think they shouldn't belong together. Go ahead and write your answers in your notebook as you brainstorm. Next is layer number 11, character conflicts. Now ask this question about your story. What specific conflicts will appear throughout the novel? These could include internal conflict, romantic conflict, family conflict, friendship conflict, community conflict, professional conflict, moral conflict, and possibly faith conflict. If you're writing a faith-based romance, there might be a faith conflict between the hero and the heroine. Or maybe there's a mystery or a suspense conflict. And this is where you generate the scene-by-scene obstacles that test the relationship. So if you can think of what kind of conflicts you have for your story, then go ahead and write that in your notebook. It might help you as you brainstorm. And then lastly, we come to layer number 12, your story beats. And only now, after you've built every other layer in your story, do you begin to plot your scenes. And the beats become much easier because you already know who your characters are, what they want, what they're afraid of, what's pulling them together, what's pulling them apart. Now you can confidently plan the opening image, their meet cute, their growing connection, their shared vulnerability, their deepening love, the midpoint of the story, their crisis, and then how they choose love over fear, and your happily ever after for your story. The beats don't create emotion. They simply organize the emotional journey you've already built. So here's some little bit of encouragement for you. One of the biggest mind shifts that I hope you take away from this video is, instead of asking what trope should I write, I encourage you to ask, what emotional journey do I want my readers to experience? Then what you can do is choose the trope that naturally creates that journey. And that's really how unforgettable sweet romances are built. They're not built from clever plot twists or from shocking surprises, but instead, they're built from layering the emotions, one layer at a time. And if you would like to try this way of writing your sweet romance for your own novel, I've created a downloadable workbook called Trope to Sweet Romance Story to help you plot a sweet romance novel readers won't be able to put down. And you can grab it for free at the link below this video. If you've enjoyed today's video, I'd love it if you'd answer this question in the comments below. Which sweet romance trope would you build using these 12 layers? I'd love to hear your ideas. And who knows, your comment might even inspire a future video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.